rotated around business. But again, looking at how impactful it is on Uganda's trading community, that is a very, there's a very huge concern in relation to the Buy Uganda, Build Uganda policy, and pretty much looking into what the government is intending to achieve. With the textile and leather industry, the Ugandan president intends to ban the importation of these products. Why is that so? Because we do have an already active industry, the textile industry in Uganda. So that means the president is pushing for Ugandans to buy clothes manufactured in the country and also textiles that are manufactured within the country as a move to support the textile industry and the growth of the same in Uganda, but also to push for the Buy Uganda, Build Uganda policy. What is your take on that anyway? It does depend on a lot of it. But well, the traders within this particular industry that are importing the goods away from Uganda, it may be clothes from Turkey, Asia, Europe, name it. How do they feel about this kind of, situation? How do they feel with this kind of groundbreaking news of the president intending to ban this? This is not the very first time that we're reporting such situations, or this is not the very first time that we are having such a conversation in the country in relation to, one, the taxation, and then the textile industry and all that. Now, joining me this morning is Joshua Mawerere, Chairman, Kasita Youth League, who is here to take us through this situation of the textile industry, and then trying to see on the high taxes of leather and how it is affecting the industry or the players within the same. A very good morning, Mr. Joshua. Many thanks for joining us.
Thank you so much, my brother. My name is Joshua Mawerere Uganda, and I am the chairperson of Kasita Youth League. Kasita Youth League is an arm for the young people under Kasita Uganda. And we made this move after Kasita re-registered from Kampala State Traders Association, which was founded in the year 2000. 2010, we re-registered as Kasita Uganda with the ambition to expand fully across the country, which was ably done. We are in all the cities that were created. We have trading associations there, and I'm happy that we also managed to start Kasita Youth League and also the Women's League.
Okay.
Kasita has a mandate to remobilize, to communicate, and also advocate for the best policies in trade in this country.
Okay. And well, of course, you get to realize that the decision that is being taken, or that was undertaken by President Yoweri Museveni, is not only a decision that is entirely a Ugandan one, but it's in line with East Africa's decision, or in regards to promoting the East African region's interests, or a bloc's interest of supporting the local manufacturing industry. But it's proving to be a huge challenge for many of the East African governments, if you're to put it in this way. This is why I'm actually going to Mr. Mawerere this morning. Yeah. What are some of the questions the traders are raising to the government in relation to the textile industry, before we even get into what you want to be, what the solutions are? But what are the questions that you're citing?
I think mainly we as the traders, we have high appreciation that the textile industry is one of those key industries that help humanity evolve.
Okay.
Because since time memorial, we last had Adam is the only one who walked naked. Now we have people that have grown in fashion, grown in a sense of ownership of material that they put on, because it speaks to style, it speaks to culture, and it has also gone a long way to speak towards the economics of certain family. It's a livelihood. People are in textile for livelihoods, to enable their kids to go to school, their families to have food on the table, and meet a lot of other other expenses. So as traders, the context of textile is huge for us. But also to mention, away from the fact that we have high regard for it, we believe that textile can help the East African countries evolve in terms of taxation, in terms of development and growth, in terms of employment of the young people. We also very cognizant that it's important that the government invests in textiles, in trade of textiles. But one of the things that are very much raising from our side is the interventions that the government is putting there to enable the country thrive in textile. I think some of them are not well thought of, I'll say that, because the directive to stop second-hand clothes coming in order to make the local production thrive, I think the narrative does not connect very well if the government hasn't invested heavily in the value chain of textile.
Okay.
Because if we talk about textile and we want people to consume locally, you have to talk about the backward leakages towards the garden. How many farmers of cotton do we have in this country? How many farmers of silk do we have in this country? Okay. And when you start asking these questions, you don't get right answers. And when you come to the real production, we start asking ourselves, how many tailors do we have in a country that can put together material for Ugandans to put on? How many industries are putting together the different types of cloth, the silk, the polyester, the cotton, and how many young people are working in these factories? So vis-a-vis how many young people and women are employed in the value chain of textile that comes in from our other countries. Then when you move forward, we also start asking ourselves about the value of the material, the quality that the textiles are putting out, that we're saying they must produce locally. And when we did a survey, we found out that actually there's a lot of lacking in the quality that is being produced within the country. And secondly, we are worried as traders because they say investors are producing for the country textile, but in real terms, actually, they import all the material that they are using, and all they do is tailor. We've been doing this as Kasita under Chiembe. We've been doing this for the rest of the time we know Chiembe has existed. We import material from Vietnam, we import material from other countries that are highly developed in textile. And when we bring it here, we turn them into shirts, into trousers, into skirts and dresses, into suits, and people are able to dress into variety. Now, the president is talking about we need to support local production, support the industries that are being invited in. We actually have no problem with that. The questions the traders are asking, they are saying, if you're going to say we dress locally and produce material locally and we have textile done locally, can we guarantee quality from these factories? We cannot do that because many of us have tried the jeans from these guys. Okay. And you put them in a basin full of water. By the time you lift it up, it has all washed out in color. So the quality is lacking. Secondly, if the president wants to build the value chain for textile within the country, then these people must stop importing material. They import it as raw material. You know, somebody has an investment license, and they're importing material which is already finished cloth, and they're just tailoring it into a panty or a trouser or something else. I think there is no value addition there. There is no, the value chain that the country wants to benefit from does not get it. Okay.
Sorry to cut you short. When you mention the quality, it brings me to a question of understanding competition.
Correct.
How fair enough would the competition be? Because it's, okay, we already have these goods on the market as of now. When you look at the competition that you have as traders from both goods, how do Ugandans appreciate our locally made products?
I think Ugandans are still complaining a lot about the quality that's produced locally.
Let's look at the price. Which is more expensive?
The prices are relative on the market, depending on what you're buying, the quality, of course, the material. But we cannot say we can outcompete somebody who is producing locally for two reasons. One, they have an investment license, so they have some tax holidays, maybe some utilities they're not paying them. They're in an industrial park, they got free land in an industrial park, so their cost of production really is low, as compared to somebody who is in Chiembe, who is buying material and tailing jeans, and or some of us who are just importing everything and bringing it to the country. The taxes have gone up, so when you talk about competition, I think they have a better arm to compete. The only thing that is beating them down is their quality, is their levels of production, is lack of variety. Because what happens with us who are importing in clothes, when you go to the market, you go for variety. You take 5 jeans of A, 5 jeans of B, 5 jeans of E, so a lot of multiple colors of the same material, which you don't get here.
True.
So unless the government is saying that people are going to put on uniforms in this country, but the level of quality the government needs to focus on it. If you're going to say we use the textile that is in this country, we would want to, because we know that it gives employment to many young people. We know that our farmers will benefit. We know that we'll consume more power because the industries will be working. But the value chains that come out of this change of process.
Let's look at the element of the taxes that were slapped onto the importation of the goods. Many are saying, if at all there wasn't a huge slap of them, the traders wouldn't be crying out foul to the government. How true is that for a statement?
It is a very true statement because...
Is it 35%?
Yeah, yes,
or more,
yes.
35.
Close to 35. That's what has been stepped up.
Okay.
And we're saying that you cannot, in a single day or in the shortest time possible, you cannot flip from a low bar to the highest bar that even is not thought of. And the question is, then how much do I sell that product if I bring it in? And the most unfortunate bit is that we would say government is looking for taxes. No. Government is looking to use taxation as a tool to stop importation. So it's being used against the citizens, which is not a good thing to do, because if you want to promote local production, then you don't use taxation as a tool, because then you suffocate people who would be bringing other things, selling them, get money to maybe buy some other things that are produced locally. So if you use taxation as a tool to stop importation of textile, I think it's a poor method of doing economics in this country. I think there are better ways when you invest in quality, in production, in the value chains within the country. Maybe you lift up the need for people to buy locally. So taxation has been a very big issue for us traders, because as long as somebody taxes you to cut into your profitability and take away your profitability, then they're only saying stop doing this business. That's the statement we hear from government through taxation. And when you say that, the statement is so loud that it's telling families that your father or your mother who is dealing in textile, in second-hand clothes, is not going to buy more food home, or you're not going to go to school as children. Now, these are statements that are unpronounced, but by the mere fact that you've levied taxes that are way beyond what people can afford to pay. There was a report that came out last year, and it was from the banks. And many traders were actually borrowing from the banks to pay taxes. You can imagine. How do you do business when you're borrowing to pay taxes? You're not borrowing to add value to your business or to start diversifying your business, but you're borrowing to pay taxes. Many young people are dropping out of the business, going back to the streets, doing nothing. Many families are stopping to, their livelihood is being cut short because of the taxes. And we say the value chain, the people in the value chain of textile, as we speak now, they are about 50,000 people selling second-hand clothes. Government is taking a lot of taxes from them. And then at the end of the day, you're still suffocating, you're getting suffocated in the same process. And that's where we have a lot of problems. We're saying, okay, can these taxes be gradual?
Okay.
This year we say we're stepping up a little bit, but also don't step up and go beyond the mark that is reasonable.
Okay.
And I think that's what URA has been doing, going way past the marks that are reasonable, because it's a tool to stop importation. And that's what we're saying is wrong. Countries that are not importing textile, like Vietnam, is the biggest exporter of textile. But Vietnam has invested in the value system towards textile. The cotton, the materials, the silk is being grown, the cotton that is being grown, but also the tailors. Vietnam has 20 million tailors. People sit on a tailoring machine on a daily basis. Now, you cannot beat Vietnam in textile because they have that capacity. So here in the country, we don't have that capacity. How many tailors we have in this country that are professional tailors, sit on a tailoring machine on a daily basis? We don't have them. Okay. And so that's why we are saying that we have to work side by side.
Before working side by side, you've mentioned the fact that Vietnam is actually ticking the right boxes. So I would wish to know, I would go to areas like Chiembe, you would find tailors.
Yes.
Everywhere you will find a tailor or muntu echalani. So what are some of the problems that they cite within their cocoon of, if I'm to look for a better word to use, within their kind of basket where they fall under?
Now, tailors in this country have a number of issues, but one of them that I'll speak about is they don't have very huge volumes or quantities of material that they can use to produce clothes. But also, secondly, they don't have enough machinery and skill. And I think where Uganda is doing right is when it says skilling Uganda. So tailoring is part of those skills that they want to impact in the young people and people in the country. But you don't have a place where this skill has been consolidated. So there is no way there is no place you walk to and say, abechala ni bali wano, ngena basanga wano, bemajagala sati, ngena basangano. So, and that's the problem. It's only us, the Kasita people, who have Chiembe. You know that when you step in Chiembe, if you want a suit, you want a trouser, you want a jean,
you'll get it.
You'll get it. And this is what we're saying, that can government work with our local traders to build value chain systems and say, okay, fine, we have Chiembe. Can we shift Chiembe to an industrial park and give it expansive land and say, okay, you guys are good tailors. We need a production line for suits. We need a production line for shirts, a production line for trousers. You'd be adding value to these traders than cutting them out of the business because they're importing textile. And so government needs to look at consolidating the traders, the tailors, put them in some space and give them the machinery and allow them to use the materials that they can get hands on and also up their skill. Now, the other thing that the tailors are facing is they don't have the capital to do these things. I think one of the hardest places to raise funds for business is this country. And that's why we have high entrepreneurial rates, but also high death rates, because of the biggest thing is capital. So the tailors have those particular issues. They don't have enough machinery, they don't have enough skills, they don't have access to capital, they don't have the materials that they can invest in and make better clothes. And then they lack consolidation into one space where you say, I find the tailors here. I think you see what the economies of scale that have happened when you see we have an industrial park, the economies of scale. When you say you're going to Chiseka,
yes,
you know that I'll find every type of mechanic, every type of spare part that I need. Now you don't see that with the tailors.
And then when you need home grocery, you know you'll go to Chikubo,
you know you go to Chikubo and you find. So government is just making these statements without realizing the need to actually invest in the sector. And that's where we are going wrong. And that's why the traders are saying, you know, it's a wrong direction. Don't ban importation of textile and make decisions that are not well thought of to scale the industry.
But you know, the worry is if according to this move, is that why the ban is most likely to be a solution is because it does seem like if there is no ban, the traders will collectively go back to importing. Even with the 35% slapped onto this importation, you get to realize that many are still importing.
Yes, many of us are still importing because we don't have the quality here. And for us, that's the biggest issue. The quality, the capacity. Because if you look for textile industries in this country, where are they? Who are they? Because you're going to find that you have about 5 factories within the country that do textile. And what is the capacity? Maybe 1,000 pieces a day, maybe 10,000 pieces a day. But then those pieces, which pieces are they? What's the quality of those pieces? What varieties are they putting out? And then how can the market access? Because for us, what we do, if they produce the quality, we've told them, produce the quality, produce the numbers, we'll come and buy from you. And then take down to Chikubo, to our shops, to the markets, and be able to sell for you. And when people the demand increases, then we call for more, we shall buy more from you. Now, what they're doing that is very frustrating to the traders is that a manufacturer sells bulk to us in bulk, and secondly, they want to open up a shop downtown and do retail. Now, that's what the problem is. We are saying, you are an investor. You are investing large sums of money in the country. We appreciate that. Sell to us, then we shall break down the bulk to the other people. You cannot have an investor. It's like you going to Coca-Cola to buy a bottle of soda. It's impossible.
True.
So if we accept the investors to produce, sell in bulk, and also sell at retail, because when you go down to our arcades, you'll find small shops.
So let me get you straight. So the investors want to open up a manufacturing plant,
Exactly.
have a retail shop,
Yes.
and at the same time have a wholesale and a retail.
Yes, and also put on a truck.
So they want to own the entire value chain.
Exactly, and that's what we're not accepting. We're not accepting that, because then you would have cut out all
The middlemen
citizens.
within. True.
Because the citizens are not investing in the industry. They're investing in the value chains,
Okay.
in the supply chain. So we made the Ministry of Trade and said, this policy has to change.
Okay.
There should be some restrictions. If somebody gets an investment license, they get all these free land, the utilities are undercut, they have tax holidays, then we don't expect them to bring their things and sell a piece, like they're normal traders. It's
Okay.
impossible. We're saying, let the local people come buy in bulk from you and take all these things down to the last mile distribution. Now, that's what they're not accepting. That's where we have the dispute, and that's why we don't agree with government on that.
Well, Joshua, besides the government, let's take it into a conversation of the private sector coming together. We are looking at the local manufacturers here, and then the already in the market traders. How can the two parties try to work together? Why am I using the word try? Because it's a fast kind of thing to see this kind of cooperation. Because first they are at loggerheads,
Yes.
simply because of one is looking at the other as the enemy of progress in the market space. But how can we work together? You've mentioned something to do with the quality. What else can be harmonized to ensure that the industry is a win-win for the both parties?
We have told government to do these things. The private sector also. We've put our ideas in the private sector foundation, and also we've discussed with different private players. One, we think that if somebody has an investment license, they should respect that they're investors. And what happens is they need to tell us, they could meet all cohorts of people who are dealing in textile and say, we've produced material A, material B, please come and buy from us. We will get our money, go procure from them, and then distribute. We are saying the investor should not load their products on a small van and drive it to makeshift, makeshift markets.
Okay.
And you find there an Indian, you find there a Chinese selling. I don't want to use this because it might look like I'm pointing out nationalities. No, I'm not. I'm just saying if somebody is an investor, they should remain investors. Let the locals do the supply chain.
Okay.
Then the other thing that that will help us work together is if there's a policy that protects the local people. I think Uganda is one country that has opened up a lot of space, and we appreciate that Uganda has signed and acceded to the African Free Continental Trade Area, so it allows everybody to move in and do whatever they want to do. We know that it's trying to be the push of the East African Regional Cooperation. We know that it's wanting COMESA to work. We appreciate all this. We know that we have a strategy of pulling in investors. We appreciate all these efforts. We are saying protect the local traders. Protect the local traders, even the industrialists, because there are some things that we think local people should be able to do.
Okay. And of course, I do have some views and comments coming in from some of the viewers here. This one says, good morning, Extra. My name is Vincent. Regarding the discussion, I believe the quality is good if you can see the military uniform made here. The problem is only the price. Since it's a brand new product, the price is going to be a little high. He has actually pointed out something. He says, when you look at the quality of the military uniform being manufactured in here, it gives us a picture of the kind of goods that can be manufactured here. How true of that is for a statement?
I think it's true. The military wear has improved, but I think we also need to be cognizant that the military wear has specifications.
Okay.
It's produced with specifications of resiliency, of proper material, proper processes, and it must fit the purpose. Now, you're talking about a me who is going downtown to just buy a trouser for the day, and I don't have any prescriptions apart from it looks nice, give it to me. So somebody on the other end who is manufacturing must have purposed to do their processes right and produce the quality. And this is what we are speaking to. We're saying that these investors must repurpose themselves to create quality and put it out to the market to benefit Ugandans. Okay. The pricing is also is an issue because there's one time we say that actually their prices will be high of some of the things that are producing here, irrespective of the fact that their cost of production is low, because they would have chased away the traders from the supply chain. So there will be kind of monopolies, small gods within the business. So they can price whatever way they feel like because they have no competition.
Okay. And the other comment is saying, is asking Joshua that why are you thinking that we shall not be able to produce high quality? He says the president is right and he does see job creation to fellow Ugandans. But well, according to what Joshua is actually highlighting, you realize there will be job creation for the employment sector. But then that also means there is going to be someone cut off again. Those in the value chain of importing all the tailors that we have that are actively in the business currently. Then this one says, His Excellency's decision was long overdue. That should have come yesterday. This will encourage creativity and innovation. The young are very ignorant about Uganda's potential, and all they are thinking is business. It is leaders who are not telling the people about the current opportunities that the government has created to impact the required knowledge to create quality. All the government needs to do is to continue setting up incubation centers, open true development, banks, give loans with realistic rates. I think this is a good one. And most importantly, loans should be purposeless, should be purposely for the local investors. I think he has a point here when it comes to the loans and supporting the local traders.
That's very true. He has a very big point. And we have told government that it's important to create funds, capital investment funds for the local people, and also make access to them achievable. Because there is a fund that was put in UDB during the COVID time. When you ask how many local traders were able to access that money, you will not find a very satisfying report, because they say most of the people never qualified to access that money. And they could be right, depending on what the government had set as pre-qualifications to get that money. So we are saying, can you avail money that it can be accessed? Can we revise the terms? Maybe we're using terms of the requirements that are not, cannot be met by the Ugandans. So we need maybe to revise the standard, maybe revise access, maybe revise the special purpose vehicles we're using to deliver this kind of fund. Maybe we're putting the money in the wrong hands, and so it can't be accessed by the local traders. But that's a very big point. Capital investment is one of the things that is drilling Ugandans backwards. For us in Kasita, we keep saying that if our traders can put up arcades, right? Somebody owns 3 arcades, 5 arcades, 7 arcades, one person. What is the cost of this person learning that government is giving them land, giving them power, give them a tax holiday for 20 years, and you tell them, can you start a textile industry?
Okay.
They will be able to do that. You can even tell them start a steel rolling mill industry. They will be able to do it. But we find that government is interested in spending money, organizing a conference in Dubai, in Canada, to woo investors to come to this country, than organizing a local traders conference to say, we can give you all the same amenities. Okay. Can you invest in A, B, and C? We'll give you land, a tax holiday for 20 years and all that. So Uganda, the country is not doing well in convincing the local investors.
Well, Joshua, I want to know, with the engagements that the traders have had with the government a couple of times, since the time of the government coming up with, slapping the taxes and also warnings on the ban of the imported, the importation of second-hand clothes, as well as, textiles, importation of the textiles and the same. What have they reaped any kind of solutions whatsoever? Because I also want to ask, how long are we going to continue putting our money, or how long are we going to continue sending out money out of the country instead of generating more income within?
First and foremost, what I want to say is I think Ugandans need to know that the traders actually face a lot of hardships when they go to import. And if there was an alternative that we buy things from anywhere closer, we would go for that alternative. So Ugandans need to understand us from that perspective, that it's not fun to fly to China. It's not fun to go to Vietnam. It's not fun to be in Dubai and you are trying to shop A, B, C, D and bring it in the country. We do that because we think that we bring things that are needed in this country, and maybe we help 1, 2, 3 people to be able to access what they would not access in the normal day. So traders, we need to look at traders as people who are helping the communities access the things they need when they need them. And 2, for us, we think that the president is actually very right on boosting local production, and we support that cause. We support Buy Uganda, Build Uganda. What we are contesting are the policies within that protects the trader. And we're saying that if we don't build this resiliency for the traders locally, then they will lose even the slightest contribution. They'll be passive in the economy. You don't want your citizens to be passive. There is no country that has developed with passive citizens. I think citizens need to be active in trade, because the only way for a country to develop, when you talk about income per capita, when you talk about the GDP, when you talk about everything, at least 70% must be locally raised.
Okay.
And how do we raise it locally? You can bring in as many investors as you can, but if the local people are not going up the ladders of the investment chain and also the trading chain, then the country is losing.
Okay.
So as a country, we need to come together, protect local trade, encourage our population to get purposely engaged in trade and also industry.
Okay.
And with us, we're having discussions. We've opened up a lot of discussions with different people, with URA on taxes, with the Ministry of Finance on the policy towards raising local revenue. We've discussed with Ministry of Trade towards protecting the trade itself. We've talked with other associations that we work with. We've also had an opportunity actually to interface with some of the communities, like the Indian community, like the Chinese community. We're having these discussions, and we're saying we're not against anybody investing in this country. We are against the fact that the local person is being cut off the supply chain completely. That is not fair. That doesn't make the country develop.
Okay. A viewer here called Raphael says, well, thanks for the show, but my concern is that he does think the president needs to think about the fact that we are not yet ready to only lean on the local textile industries, but we also need other sources for competition. Thank you. Well, I think the issue is not only looking at the competition as the rest, because both goods are on the market as of now, so the competition is there. But you get to realize that at times it is quite unfavorable for goods made in here. However much the traders are saying the taxes are a bit unfavorable, but when you go on ground on the market, Ugandan goods are not being bought.
Yes, I think you're right about that, because when you look at fashion, and I'll use fashion, but you're right about all the goods. Even when you look at the honey that is produced here, when you look at, it's the best honey, the coffee is the best coffee, but somebody will go for another brand of coffee that has been imported, or they will go for butter that has been imported and butter is produced here.
Okay.
But the whole issue is about the value addition, and this is what we keep talking about, that government needs to avail money to the local people for value addition. Packaging is very important, but where do the local people learn packaging from? Last time we had a meeting in Kasita, and we were talking about, okay, if you're an accountant, you go to CPA. If there is an improvement in a standard, ISO something, CPA will communicate to all the accountants, this standard has been improved. Engineers have the same thing. When something has been changed, they have their code of ethics, and something changes, they have information that something has changed. Doctors have the same thing. Now, the traders don't have anywhere to go to add on their knowledge on trade, or to be told this is how business is changing, this is where we are going, this is how we're going. You only hear about a directive. So and so said ABCD about trade, and it's changing the entire narrative. You wake up in the morning and they say, we've added this tax on trade. No conversation, no narratives of improvement, on value addition, on preparing the traders to be able to absorb what is coming. And this is where we go wrong as a country. But all round, the traders are very, very, very receptive of the fact that this country needs to produce locally, but very, very touchy. Should not discard the local citizenry.
Okay.
Yes.
And this one says, good morning, Joram, and your guest. Thanks for today's topic. He does say that for sure, as the youth government via parliament should eliminate some taxes unless they want the youth to own business. I remain gift from Waki. So, well, gift, you get to realize that it's the mandate for Uganda, for all of us to pay taxes. And as much as we are calling out for the government to decrease some of the taxes, you also get to realize that with the national budget, most of the money, also part of the money, I would say, goes to servicing the loans we are taking as a country. So that is why at times we get to see some taxes increasing in order to eliminate the external borrowing here and there, and that's why we had some budget cuts as well because of over expenditure as a nation. But thank you very much for your comment, and many thanks for viewing.
And maybe just to say something about that.
Yeah, okay.
The traders are feeling overtaxed.
I think that would be the better word for gift to use there.
Overtaxed, because government is also struggling to keep up its recurrent expenditure. You have government employees to pay, you have loans to offset, You have an administration that you have to carry that is very huge.
Okay.
We also saying that government needs to take a deliberate move to shred down, to cut down on some of the expenditures. The public service is too huge on what it's delivering today.
Okay.
So we think that government needs to cut on the public service size, but also it needs to cut on the illicit flows of revenue. There's a lot of money that is churning out in corruption. Money is being taken left and right. And you know, what is very painful for us traders is if they say that 60% of the money that government gets in revenue comes from trade, and then at the end of the day you also find a newspaper or TV stations saying somebody has gone away with 11 billion shillings. It's very, very painful. It is like being in a home and you don't have sugar, and then they tell you your son bought a sack of sugar and poured it on the street. It's that kind of pain. So government needs to be very creative also. A revenue authority needs to be very creative. Don't pound the same people all the time. Let them be very creative. We've told them, put a small taxi for these young people who are out of the tax zone. For example, when you say everybody with a stall of a chapati pays 10,000 in a year, how many stalls of chapati are in the country? You'll get more revenue. You get more revenue. But the only thing is you are looking at somebody who is earning 230 plus. So that one is in a formal employment. They're going to tax you heavily. Then you're looking at the trader because their income is being tracked. But there are small people outside the tax rim that can be recollected and given small targets to meet, and they can be able to collect money. Then we also have what we call they're called diaspora remittances. Young people that we send out of this country to go and work.
Who send money back to the country?
Who send money back to the country. In 2021, we had diaspora savings of about 1.3 billion US dollars in Uganda. And these are people who sent back money to their families, build for me a house, do me like a business for me, put the money in the bank, and that money is lying redundant there. And in the same year, I think government went for a loan of about 1.6 billion US dollars to complete Karuma Dam. Now, for governments that are serious, you would look at this granular data and say, next year we're going to talk to the people who are in the diaspora. Give us this money, we're going to invest it into power. And you become shareholders of the power. So you receive dividends on your money. Every person in the diaspora will give you their money. If government is truthful to investing it right, and also giving them back their money.
Okay.
It will be an investment, but because people don't trust the government system, they're not willing to give back their money. They're only going for secure trade like the bonds and the bills and treasury bills.
Joshua, lastly, what would be your recommendations to the government? We have, with this conversation that we've been having this morning, looking at textile industries, what is a fair kind of situation that the government can come together to an understanding with the private sector to ensure that we are not receiving too many complaints from the textile dealers in Uganda and also those who are importing?
Thank you so much. Finally, I want to say that, one, the traders want to work with government on a smooth phase out.
Okay.
The traders want the investors not to do retail. And that one, we will be very serious about it. As we support the supply chain, the traders must remain in the supply chain. The local traders must remain in the supply chain. Two, we want to say that please revise the taxes on the textile. Don't use taxation as a tool to stop other people doing business, but rather let's have this healthy competition. Whenever you bring in new things, the local textile industries get to know what we're bringing in, and then they get to uplift their style of work and also the shades that they have and the quality that they have.
Okay.
Because you cannot learn from what you don't have. Then third, I want to still encourage the local traders that we have. That if we can produce some of the things that we import locally, let's invest in the production, let's invest in value addition. This has been something that our chairman has talked about regularly, Mr. Thaddeus Musoke. He has been very, very keen on encouraging traders to do value addition. If we can produce something locally, let's come together as traders, let's invest in it, let's be able to produce locally. Then lastly, I want to mention that those young people who are still, who are coming into trade, please come and learn more about trade from Kasita. We've created the Kasita Resource Center, where we are uplifting knowledge on trade for the young people. We'll also be doing skilling. And what we want to have is sustainable trade. Trade where the country benefits. We don't want to be only importers. We want also to be exporters. We are saying that if you are going to Turkey, to Vietnam, you're going to Dubai, and you have already a relationship with the people in those countries, you can talk to them about buying coffee from the country. We can process coffee here and export it. So instead of you going with just the dollars to shop, you can go with a container full of coffee and offset it in that country, trade it around, and get back your money, and then buy whatever you want to buy and come back to the country. So it's two-way traffic trade that we're trying to push for. I also want to lastly talk to the government and Uganda Revenue Authority that it's important that we pay our taxes, and all the traders are very, very fond to pay their taxes. However, tax education is still very important. There's a lot of tax IT that has evolved in the tax collection processes. Please educate our traders on how to use the technology to be able to pay their taxes. And also to government, please control the illicit cash flows in the government. Cut the public expenditure so that we are able to be sustainable. We cannot have the sizes of public spaces that we have, public offices that we have. We cannot sustain the cars, we cannot sustain your trips, we cannot sustain the luxurious lifestyle. We're saying please trim down so that we are able to fund our budget locally to at least 80–90%. And let's have the traders and citizenry benefit from their taxes. Thank you so much, and I'm grateful to be here.
Well, many thanks for joining us, Joshua, this morning. Joshua Mawere is the chairperson of the Kasita Youth League, or the Kampala City Traders Association Youth League. And our conversation today have been entirely looking at the taxation on imported textiles and the leather industry, if I'm to put it in that way. And for those of you who have shared your views and opinions on SMS and on WhatsApp, many thanks for being part of the show today. And for all of you that started up with us from 6:30 a.m. till this hour of 10 o'clock, with only 2 minutes left to that, many thanks. We will do this tomorrow, same time, here on your public broadcaster. I'm Joram Paul Sonko. All I'm wishing you is a good day and a blessed week ahead of you. Good morning.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda Extra.
Welcome to Dade Nursery and Primary School, Luzira, a school that gives your child a positive learning environment that makes them feel comfortable and safe. We are a progressive year-round nursery and primary school, providing a child-centered approach to early learning, collaborative family atmosphere, and a safe, inspiring environment that encourages exploration and creativity. Dade Nursery and Primary School offers a wide range of co-curricular activities that promote teamwork, physical and mental development, including ballet, soccer, basketball, piano, and home economics. Admissions are in progress from baby class to P7, starting from the 8th of January to the 5th of February 2024. Find us at the first left turn after Oryx service station towards Luzira.
Irritations? No more rashes and irritations. Movit Herbal Jelly and Herbal Soap is rich in natural herbs for a smooth and glowing skin.
Movit All Day Confidence.
The cardinal role of a government is maintaining law and order, safeguarding citizens' rights and providing essential public goods and services. Throughout its tenure, the government has consistently upheld these principles. This foundation creates an environment conducive to delivering crucial social services to citizens through diverse approaches such as taxation, strategic budgeting, and effective policy implementation. A transformative education system, advancing healthcare provisions, enhancing social welfare, and propelling infrastructure growth, all of which continue to evolve daily to cater to the population's expectations. Supported by a meticulously organized network of ministries, government remains committed to serving its citizens. Coming soon on your public broadcaster, The Front Bench, your interface with the government every Monday at 8:30 p.m. with Joram Paul Sonko, only on your public broadcaster, UBC, inspiring Uganda.
As Gulu District Farm Association, in two districts of Omoro and Gulu, for Finsawa and Tirantwe, farmers benefited from this project, whereby if you go to that link of Gulu District Farm Association, you have all the details of the number of farmers who have been benefiting from this project. One thing Gulu District Farm Association benefited from this project called it has strengthened the extension system of the DFA, or the District Farmers Association, whereby there were capacity building of each of the staff, the one in Gulu, the one in Omoro. Before this farmer group, I also benefited from this project, whereby, particularly for me, the other achievement I made, because in fact, I think all in all, I could say the luckiest, to me particularly in my achievement, because I finished my university in 2020. Immediately I came for Prelno. So I understood every structure, what's all about in Prelno, whereby I had to achieve. I constructed also a house home, I also had a bull, whereby they hope my museum from home for plowing. So that's briefly what I can say. Thank you so much.
So much fresh meat for the grinder is necessary if casualties are so low, not to mention how large we've seen Ukrainian cemeteries grow in recent months. So this is altogether something that Russia's foreign ministry spokeswoman is saying evidence for why Zelensky is actually really just a liar.
The fact that Zelensky is lying is realized by every citizen of Ukraine, first of all by every Ukrainian soldier. Earlier, their president did not consider the Russian-speaking population of Donbass as people. Now he has stopped considering the population of the remaining parts of Ukraine as people.
Now, Russia's position on this is really only further backed up by a slip-up from the president of the European Commission back in 2022, Ursula von der Leyen, when she said that Ukrainian losses had at that point reached 100,000 people in a video that was just deleted as quickly as it was published.
It is estimated that more than 20,000 civilians and more than 100,000 Ukrainian military officers have been killed so far.
Well, that's one statement that I can see is all over the Western press. But is there anything else that he mentioned in that pretty comprehensive press conference that you think is interesting?
Well, now that the counteroffensive is over, it's a failure. But Zelensky is still saying that this is not something that he should be taking responsibility for. He says that that the plans for the counteroffensive were somehow available to the Kremlin in advance.
Yeah, I'll tell you frankly, our counteroffensive operations last autumn were on the Kremlin's table before the counteroffensives began.
Now, despite the colossal failure of the 2023 Ukrainian counteroffensive, I mean, the fact that it's failed to accomplish anything aside from massive casualties on the Ukrainian side, we've still got Ukraine's defense minister promising that 2024 is going to be a new year with new successes.
We're doing everything possible and impossible to make a breakthrough. The 2024 plan is already in place. We do not talk about it publicly. It is powerful, it is strong. It gives not only hope, but it will give results in 2024.
So definitely some big plans there, some big words, but with Russian forces now in control of Avdiivka and advancing across most of the front line, I mean, it seems like a 2024 counteroffensive would be even more doomed to failure than the one that we saw last year.
International